in terms of also its very dramatic growth during this modern period after really struggling to survive through the 50s into the 60s. People tend to see AA as a clone of AA, meaning that we'll do a research study, and instead of a study on AA, it'll say it's a study of 12-step programs, and all we've studied is AA, and we assume anything we studied on AA automatically applies to NA. How many of you in this room who have a little bit of knowledge in this area believe that NA has a very distinct culture in contrast to AA, that you can sense if you've been in the tables and in the rooms long, sense almost instantaneously? The differences in language, differences in rituals. I would suggest when Jimmy Kay reframed the first step of NA in 1954, in a century from now, we will look back on that as an amazing revolution in thinking and understanding about the nature of this disorder, not linked to a particular drug, but to a broader process he labeled addiction in 1954, an amazing moment in NA history. And I wish we would have opportunities to break out and do more studies really focused on NA, and that people would begin to see NA as the very distinct culture of recovery that it is. In addition to these many, many variations of 12-step programs, and you see they've continued to proliferate, we also get the current Wellbriety movement, sometimes referred to as the Red Road of Recovery in Indian country, that in many ways is at times appears to be a kind of adaptation of 12-step spirituality, and others seems to really break from that and really incorporate lots of historical Native American culture as a framework of recovery. Further specialization, of course, we've got the first recognition that there's this independent family recovery process. And we see that beginning to be articulated through the birth of Al-Anon and Alateen and other family-based support structures. And we begin to get the early notion that if we really say there is a thing called family recovery, how does it differ from personal recovery? And this sets the stage for people like Stephanie Brown, who begins to study families and burst the illusion that if we just get the alcoholic sober, the family will spontaneously heal. And what Stephanie and Virginia and their work began to suggest was recovery is very destabilizing to families. And if there's not an independent recovery process, families that absorbed every insult addiction has to offer, and as sick as they may be, somehow hung together as family, may disintegrate in early recovery. And everybody in this room has seen examples of that, agree? Families that survive that, and we suddenly see the disintegration of this relationship, partnership, marriage in early recovery. We see the occupational specialization beginning, and this list could have been very long. I just gave a few examples here, which is part of what Ernie's referring to in terms of this growing varieties